図鑑を見たいんですか？もちろんいいですよ。私の自信作なんです。挿絵も全部自分で描いたんですよ。ルミって可愛いでしょ。でもキラキラしたものを持ってたら飲み込まれちゃうんで気をつけてくださいね。そうなったら戻ってこないかもしれませんから。
ここは冒険者たちが活躍する。
星と深淵。無事今日の依頼を達成しましたね。ありがとうございます。これが報酬です。星と深淵を
やっぱりモコモコダジュにしよう。
正々堂々奪う。
目を閉じてお静かに。さあ地の底へ。
ガチャガチャ、水遊びの時間だよ。えい、さあ取ってこい。
目を閉じて足元をすくわれませんよ。ほら夜ですね。
ここがネフェルの言ってた会場だな。そうそう、この配置で行くぞ。もう場所替えはなしだからな。
販売物はどこに保管してあるのかしら。
先に確認しておかなくちゃ。
今年の取引手数料はいくらなんだ？
悪いけど一人ずつ順番に頼む。迷い猫探しの仕事の方がマシだよ。ヤホだ。旅人とパイモン？悪いけど順番に。落ち着け落ち着け。仕事の本当か？ありがとう姉さん。まるで砂漠のオアシスだ。あんたらもありがとう。出店者の受け入れがどうのこうのって言って。出店者の受け入れ。そうだ、まだ手続きが終わってない出店者が3組もい。3組？うん、3組だよな。いや、もう一回考えてみろ。他に何か忘れてないか？こいつの顔を見ると心の中で何を考えてるの？悪いな、細かいことが多すぎて。まずは目の前の仕事から手をつけようぜ。出店者、具体的に言うと出店者の登録、それと出店者の間で揉め事が起きたら仲裁に入るのも。なるほどな。残ってる3つのブースのうち1つはアイノの工房用に取ってあるんだ。あとの2つは予約が入ってて。両方他の国から来る大物だ。どっちも一筋縄じゃいかない。旅人がいるんだし、そんなに心配しなくても。あんたら分かってないんだよ。あたいの情報によると、片方は遠洋を縦横無尽にかける傭兵の
Oh,
親
I see.
玉
So it's Beto and Navia.
裏社会を牛耳るドンだ。もしまずい状況になったら無理せずボスの名前を出すんだぞ。傭兵とギャングの親玉か。マジ感謝だよ、救世主様。とにかく2人ともまだ見本市会場には来てないみたいだ。こっちから出向くのをおすすめするよ。
Hello there, how's it going?
大物にないがし
Not
ろ
much
に
for
され
me.
た
Just
なんて思わせない
doing some of the event for now. I'm looking forward to later popping back into Final Fantasy XIV and starting on the MSQ. Yesterday I got a little distracted. Did the new Alliance raid, which was pretty fun. But then I was like, oh man, I want to make sure I get the gear for the other one. So I ended up doing the other Alliance raids, which ended up wasting, well, not really wasting a lot of time, but like, well, I think for one of them it was a waste because I got literally nothing from it again, which is unfortunate when you're trying to get the, No, yeah. This is like the very, very beginning. So like yesterday, I thought, so yesterday I thought I was going to do a quick little, quickly do the, weekly bosses till I'm using up all my resin and start this. But then the weekly bosses just ended up taking forever because people kept dying, and then I went on a rant. So all I was able to do was basically just accept the quest from Nefer, and I hadn't even gone to the event location. So I only just gotten here. And then they obviously talking about Beto and Navia, so I'm going to start that, and then probably work on some of the events. Wait a minute, where the hell is this telling me? Oh. Can I teleport to this? Oh, good, I can. I was going to say, how the hell am I supposed to get here? But the fact I can just teleport is convenient. But yeah, it's Beto's ship. It's been a while since I've been on this. It used to be parked in the Guyun Forest. Oh, nice. It's lucky. Yeah, Nefer is super hot. So is Llama. They're both hot in their own way.
こいつは戦隊の第2巻さ。 主張整合は古雲閣で巡回中だ。
Yeah, so I remember being on Beto's ship ages ago, but like it's been ages because like I popped on the ship as part of like exploration of Leeway back when the game first came out. But like realistically, we don't really go back to Leeway that often, other than just for the Lunar New Year event. But even then, it's just like, yeah, you're just popping into just Leeway Harbor, and that's pretty much it. You don't really go around exploring anything else anymore. And the Lunar New Year event rarely has you actually go outside the city. So it is. So that's one thing I really do like about Genshin is the fact that they just keep bringing back old characters. And I think it just really helps build the immersion of the world. Because it's like, you know, they're not just like introducing a character and then you just never see them again. And it's like, yep, sure, we introduced them because they were on the banner. And then you just like never hear from them again. Even though you like, and like sometimes you just never go back to the old locations at all. Like, it's like, nope, you move to the new location, you never go back, you never see the old characters, you're just progressively moving. I complain that Wuthering Waves has that issue, where it's just like their world feels so hollow and empty because you're just rushing from one zone to the next, never looking back, never, you know, going back and meeting the old characters. It's always just, here's a new character. This new character's part of the story. And then once that patch is over, it's like, okay, we're not going to see that new character. We're not going to see that character again. So it makes the world feel kind of, it makes the world feel not really immersive, right? Because it's like, it feels like the characters don't live in the world. They just appear when they need to and then disappear when they're not needed. Whereas in Genshin, it's like they appear, you know, all the time, right? Like we see them pop up every now and then. It feels like they have a life, right? It feels like Beto does her own thing. The fact that she's popping up here for this event, it's like, oh yeah, like while we were going off and doing all sorts of random shit, Beto was still doing, you know, what she does. You know, and so, like, when Nefer first came out, like when her banner first came out, the really interesting thing is the event of that patch was going back to Sumeru and, you know, meeting Thoth, the creature that gave her the chess set and all that shit. But, like, we went back to Sumeru, and when we were at Sumeru, we pretty much met almost every single Sumerian character that had been introduced in the game. I think there was like one or two that were not there, like Nahida wasn't there, but like pretty much every other Sumerian character popped up. Like everyone, Kole, I'm trying to think of her name. It's the water girl, the water one that's not super useful. With the shield and spear. I forget what her name is, but like there was like easily like 10 characters. I have my memory's really bad. Just trying to come up with something out of nothing. Like, I'll remember, like if I see them, I'll be like, oh, it's that character. Because I have really good recognition memory, but not just recall memories. My recall memory's pretty shit. But it was really cool because it was like, oh, hey, cool. We're going back to Sumeru. We're going to learn a little bit more of the Destrotet era. We learned about this Thoth. And it was like, this is after the quest where, you know, we went into the chessboard to fight Doctore before Columbina had been kidnapped. You know, we was fighting against Rasher. We were fighting against him and learning about his history and shit. We went into the chess set. And then basically as part of that patch, we then met Thoth. It was like, oh, cool, that's how Nefer got this artifact and all that shit. And then also, like, when meeting Thoth, it gave a little piece into the history of the Destrotet civilization. But he also alludes to he also, like, mentions basically meeting Doctore, who was scornful and chose not to accept Thoth's power. And also, he talked about the second person he gave his power to, was someone we actually who we technically knew. We never met, But when we did the second desert area, we met a genie in a bottle, and the genie in the bottle was from a time where there was this woman who ended up overthrowing her civilization by just being tyrannical, and it was that lady who Thoth had given powers to the second time. And I was like, oh, cool! It's a nice little reference to that. Like if you had done that world quest, you know, Thoth, references this woman who he had given his powers to be loved, and she used that to basically become the ruler, and then, treat everyone like shit until she was eventually overthrown. So it was really cool that they reference that. So it's a nice little more backstory, more Sumerian backstory, and then so that was the main plot, but then there's also a little bunch of little mini games and side quests and shit, which then brought back every Sumerian character. Al-Haytham and Kaveh popped up. As I said, Kole and Tignari also appeared. I think Layla also popped up as well. So it's we just every... and as I said, I think the only Sumerian character that didn't appear... Oh yeah, it's Sethos and Sino were there. The only one who didn't appear was Nahida. Which kind of makes sense because she's kind of the Archon and is busy. But it was pretty cool that everyone else appeared, because it's oh yeah, cool. We are going back to Sumeru. Makes total sense. Nefer is also from Sumeru. So we also, as part of the main story, we learned a little bit more about her past. And so it was nice that it's hey, cool, we're introducing a Sumerian character after a long time. Hell, let's go back to Sumeru and have a nice little refresher, meet all the characters, and see what they've been doing in the time you've been gone. And it makes the world feel so immersive, because it's not we just go through the world, solve the crisis, move on to the next thing, and completely forget the old content. That's another reason why I like Final Fantasy XIV so much, is because the story is really good, and it builds upon the past. So it's references. It was super crazy, because you play a Realm Reborn, and you're okay, whatever, right? Then you move on to Heavensward, and you're okay, Heavensward's pretty cool. But Heavensward and a Realm Reborn didn't really have too much of a connection. Sure, there were Ascians, but there wasn't a direct correlation, because Realm Reborn had a lot to do with Ascians and Garleans didn't really pop up at all in Heavensward. And then Garleans do pop up again in Stormblood. But then when you get to Shadowbringers and they start kind of talking about what Hydaelyn and Zodiark are, you're oh my god, this gives so much more context to some of the old cutscenes in A Realm Reborn. You're just wait a minute, they said this in A Realm Reborn, and I just wasn't even I wasn't even paying attention to it. But then they reveal the actual truth of the world, and you're oh, that adds another layer to the thing they said back then. So it's that kind of world building that I really like. It's another reason why I don't like World of Warcraft, is because they just basically cannibalize their old content, where they're just okay, well, we have the new expansion. Okay, so it's it's retail only includes the current expansion and the last two expansions. So the current Midnight has Midnight, the previous one, and Dragonflight, and so now I don't know if you can do Shadowlands anymore. So it's so that content is gone. And so basically retail only exists in the three most recent expansion, and you literally can't do any you can't do any of the story content from before that, and I think that's just kind of sad, what if you want to play World of Warcraft but you want to get the full story? You literally can't. There just is no way to actually do it. You can't, you can play Classic, right? You can go into the Classic servers, but even the Classic servers only go the base game and then 2 expansions forward, and then that's it. You're stuck again. And you can't play one contiguous experience. You can't go back and be hey, I want to start from the Classic era. I want to start in the base game, the 1.0, and I want to go through the story from 1.0 to the current expansion. You literally cannot do that. And I think that's just terrible. I think that's, it was probably chosen for space, where it's okay, well, there's too much content. It'd be hard to optimize and keep everything running efficiently, if you had to, have all those assets always there. And so I believe that's why they do it. Obviously, I can't really know. It's sad, right? Where you can't do that. Whereas like for Final Fantasy 14, if I want to play the story from the very beginning, I can. I can start a new character, boom, I'm in a Realm Reborn, and I can just go through a Realm Reborn and every single expansion afterwards, quest by quest. And hell, in Final Fantasy, they even added a New Game Plus feature where I don't even need to create a new character anymore. I can basically just do a New Game Plus, where it just basically it loads you into an instance where the main story quests are reset. So it's like, and you can like pick and choose. So you can say, hey, I want to start in the middle of Realm Reborn. I want to start at the end of Realm Reborn. I want to just do the patch content of Realm Reborn. I just want to do Heavensward. Like, the New Game Plus is segmented by story beats. So you don't have to start from the very beginning. You might be like, oh, I've played Realm Reborn a bunch of times. I'll just start from Heavensward, right? You could do that. You just select Heavensward as a starting thing, and it resets it creates an instance where your Heavensward quests are reset, so you can redo them again with your current character. So you don't even need a new character if you want to do that. Which it has an advantage, because if you had unlocked a bunch of shit, right? Or if you don't want to farm gear again and stuff like that, or levels or whatever, that's perfect. You just go back and do that, and you'll be level synced down to everything, but you'll be able to do it just back to back. There's no delays, no like, oh shit, I'm missing, I can't fly because I don't have the Ethernet currents yet, because the way it's designed is that you only ever get the last Ethernet current as part of the main story, and in the main story quest that takes you out of the zone. So it's like the last quest of each zone that takes you to the next zone, that's the quest that gives you the last Aether current. So even if you found all the overworld ones and did all the side quest ones, you still couldn't fly until you did the main story, and you were basically finished with the zone. So that is interesting. So you could do it like that. So you don't have to like start from the beginning and have no items, no gear, have to farm dungeons, level up, all that shit. You could just focus on the story if you want. So like Final Fantasy did like the perfect way, where it's like you can create a new character whenever you want and play the entirety of their content from start to finish. Or you could just use an existing character to go replay whatever sections you want to replay. It's really cool. Now, I kind of wish Genshin did that as well, where they allowed you to replay quests. Because, like, there were a lot of old quests that I've done. Like, I've done all these quests right from, like, all the Mondstadt characters' character quests. Jean, Diluc, all those characters. I did those ages ago. I can't remember what happened. It would be nice if I could just redo them, you know? If I could just come in and be like, yeah, I want to do this character quest again. It would be cool. I understand kind of why they don't want to do that, because you do it and then they can just release the assets. Because obviously, if you haven't done the quest, you have to load the assets to do the quest. And then once you finish the quest, they can be like, cool, we'll save space by removing these assets from the game since you no longer need them, you know? So I get why they do it. But it is, I mean, it's a bit, and it could be the same reason World of Warcraft does it. It's just to save space. But it still is unfortunate, you know? Especially after a game has been going on for so long, that you're just like, well, shit, I've been playing from the beginning, or I've been playing for a few years, and it's been a few years since I did this quest. It would be nice if I could do it again. Oh, so you're landing in a nice outfit. That's nice. So that's one thing that also kind of does suck, is that like we get alternate outfits for characters, but most of the time you never see them in it, right? They're in the outfit as part of the event that the outfit's released in. So like Keqing and Ningguang both had different outfits, and they wore them as part of the Lunar New Year event when those outfits were released. But then every time since then, they've just gone back to their defaults. So it is a shame that you can't see. It's a shame that their characters don't have the outfit. Like, if you have the character and you have their outfit and you've currently equipped the alternate outfit, it would be nice that if any time you ever see them in game, they were always wearing, like, basically the character models in the game match whatever the character models of your own playable characters. So if you've equipped them with the outfit, then they'll be wearing the outfit when you see them in the world. I think that would be cool. Obviously, it would be a little more annoying to program, but not impossible. But alternatively, if they would just like swap them around every now and then, right? So obviously this time they're like, hey, yeah, we're gonna have Ning Wong in her outfit, or in Yelan in her outfit. It would be kind of cool if like they just alternate it, where it's like, yeah, sometimes when we meet Ning Wong, she has her outfit on. Sometimes when we meet her, she has her other one. You know, if they swapped every now and then, you know, maybe every other time we see them, or every once in a while we'll see them wear their other outfit. You know, just I mean, because the cool thing is, like, they do still sell the outfits even after they, like, if we go to the store, you can see the outfits there. So if you weren't able to get them for free when they first released for the free outfits, you could still purchase them later. So if you only just started playing the game now, you could still go buy those outfits. So it'd be a smart business decision to have them wear them every now and then, just to kind of remind people, hey, yeah, these are how cool the outfits look. Don't you wish you had one? You know, they're in the shop.
あれ？イランも出店するの？
調査で謎くらいに来る必要があって乗せてもらっただけだから登録はいいわ。久しぶりね、旅人。碑文の館の主人によろしく。仕事よ。詳しくは。この顔。
Oh yeah, I think there was an anecdote where we had Yelan and Nefer meet each other. But yeah, they are kind of basically the same type of character. They do the same type of work, just in different countries.
それじゃあ、私はお先に。用事が済んだら、みんなに一杯おごってあげる。
She looks very pretty in that. Honestly, pretty much all the alternate outfits look really good. I think I like them a lot. I think the only one I was just like meh was Deluxe. Like, Deluxe is interesting, but it's kind of tough because it's like, well, he does look snazzy in his own outfit. It definitely looks crisper, but then like the ponytail just looked weird. The weird ponytail was like, I just don't like the ponytail. And then it was just, he went from kind of like a brown outfit with fur and stuff to like this more suit-like red and white outfit, more reddish. I don't particularly like the color red, so it's like, yeah, whatever. Of course, there's always that. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember there was a previous event where it was like, hey, yeah, when this is filled, do the skill, and you can do shitloads of damage. And like, I did the first 2 or 3 fights, not realizing that that's how it worked. Like, that you have to press the skill. I thought it was one of the things where, like, once it fills up, you automatically get a free buff. Because there have been some combat events that are like that, where it's like, oh, once it fills up, you automatically trigger this effect. But for this combat event, it was like, no, you have to go into that, and then you'll pause time, and then you'll be able to do these, like, slashes, which can then just absolutely destroy enemies. And so it's like, it kills them so quickly. You're like, oh, okay. So like, and I was still able to get gold even without using it at all. But then, like, once I realized that's how you use it, I started using it. I got like double the points I was getting before. So I was like, obviously insanely good. What's I gonna do? I guess I'll just continue this, right? Yeah. And then here's Navia.
フラッグシップ？あ、きっと宿の
I am actually super surprised. Like in the Simulanka event, Navia had a little crown and a mustache, and I was like, oh, why can't you just let us have this? Because it's funny. Like her with a bushy mustache was hilarious. It looked really silly and funny. And then it would be cool if you could like have either or both accessories, right? Where you could actually like swap her hat with the little crown, because the crown looked really good on her, and then the mustache just looked funny. So I would be fine if they had them both linked together. Like you had to have the crown and the mustache, or neither, and just have her original outfit. But I was surprised that they just didn't let us have that, because like they already designed it, you know. And it's something, it's relatively minor, where it's like, yeah, you just put it on her head, and it doesn't really even matter. You know? Like, it's not like an outfit where you have to actually, like, make sure that it doesn't clip, and it actually, like, has enough, polygons in it to actually move around the character, right? Like, the hat is just like, no, you just plop it on their head. It doesn't have to have any sort of movement at all. It just has to stay attached to their head. So it's much easier to work with. But yeah, I'm surprised they never. It's like because the Simulanka event gave us the Kira outfit for free, and then had Nilo's outfit for a cost. But then they also had an outfit. They also had Navia dressed slightly differently, and I'm like, oh, that's surprising they didn't. I thought maybe they were going to wait for later. Or I mean, initially I thought maybe it's something we unlock as part of doing the Simulanka quest, but then it never happened. So I was like, oh, that's disappointing, because it was pretty funny.
Oh, お前が裏社会のドンか。
何それ、私の新しい呼び名？なかなかかっこいいじゃない。
実はオイラたち見本市の出店者登録とか展示品のチェック。
なるほどね。座って話しましょう。ちょうど美味しい料理をたくさん頼んだところなの。クロリンデとシュブルーズも荷物を置いたら戻ってくるから。噂をすればなんとや。
私たちの話か。
クロリンデとシュブルーズも来てたんだな。
などくらいは秩序が乱れている。
I mean, I imagine Clarin has a lot of free time because she is just a duelist. Her job is just dueling. If she doesn't need to duel, then she, I assume, has a lot of free time. But like, Chevreuse is actually a guard, so she actually has like a 9-to-5 job. So I guess no, she wouldn't. It's not like she would have been hired, because you don't hire a good. It's not like it's not like you go to the police like, hey, I'd like to hire a policeman to protect me when I go over here. It's like, no, like, they're on personal bodyguards, so typically that wouldn't work unless maybe Chevreuse is using this moment, the time to take some time off. She's on vacation, and so she decided to follow Navia, and maybe during her vacation, maybe Navia's paying her, but like, so she's not technically on the clock as a guard. Oh, I see. I guess that could be it too, yeah. Because she's traveling because an important figure from Fontaine is going to Nod Cry. It's possible that they did send people with her. It's like, hey, we want to make sure that you're safe and you represent them. She could be going in some sort of official capacity, and then maybe that's why they were able to send Clorinde and Chevreuse with her as part of it. As I said, the world feels really immersive, and I was just talking like we had an instance where we met Sumerian characters as part of it when Nefer's banner first released, and here we have this one where it's like, hey, yeah, like we haven't seen Beto in a while. Technically, for the Leeway characters, we do see them more frequently than most, because every Lunar New Year we do have a Lunar New Year event where we go back to Leeway and meet a bunch of Leeway characters. So it's like, for Leeway, it's like, we don't really need to go out of our way to include them because they get included every year regardless. But, it was just cool. Like, you know, we've gone back to Mondstadt. We opened up a new area in Mondstadt. We recently had an event in Mondstadt. So it's like, yeah, we went back to the first zone, and we got to interact with the character we met at the start of the game. And here we have, like we had recently the Sumerian characters for Nefer's event, and now they're bringing, Beto in and bringing some Fontanian characters, to kind of make the world feel alive and connected, which I really like. I like this level of immersion. That's why it's really tough for new games to break into the space and do it better than Genshin. Because Genshin obviously has years to go with, right? They started with Mondstadt and Fontaine, or the Mondstadt and Liyue, and they've been slowly building, right? They've been slowly building. They keep sending us back. But it's also like the kind of thing where it's like, so like for a new game, right? Well, a new game releases, they're only going to have the one area, right? And an event's only going to be in that one area. So obviously the world can't feel super alive because, like, this is the current area, and the current area always, for most games, will still feel alive because you're still being involved with stuff in that area. It's just that some games be like, oh, hey, cool, we finished all the events, like, the story has progressed out of this area. Okay, well, now you're never going to see the characters from that area. You're never going to go back to that area. That area is basically dead. All activity will be in the new area from now on, right? And that just kind of, like, it's fine, right? Like, as long as the new area is fun, sure. But it's not like you're a bad game for doing this, but I think you're a better game for not doing it, right? I think you're a better game if you make all the characters in the world feel like they live in the world, and you don't just forget about them. Because especially for games like this, where it's like, dude, you're selling the characters. Like, if you're selling the characters, you want to make the characters as appealing as possible and show up as frequently as possible to remind people, hey, this character exists. Don't you want this character? So it's crazy where you get these games that are like, yeah, we have this character, and then we just, we had their banner. And sure, we'll bring back their banner, on reruns to make more money off of her or them. But we're not going to, we're not going to have them involved in the story at all. Like, Wuthering Waves is absolutely terrible at this, because I think even to this day, they still haven't brought in Dungeon into the game at all. Like, she's in the game, obviously. She's a playable character in the game. But I don't think she's ever appeared at all in any of the story quests ever. So she's a 4-star character that has existed since 1.0, but she's literally never been seen in any cutscene or any aspect of the story of the game. And it's just like, what? Like, how do you have a character like that? How do you design a world, and you design characters for the world, but you just don't think to include them in the world? And even still, for the pink-haired 5-star girl, the big-boobed one from 1.0 in Wuthering Waves, she appeared once in a cutscene, and that was it. Like, you never saw her again. And, like, her involvement in the cutscene was super weird, because it's like, why the fuck are you here? Like, who the hell are you? Like, we never met you at all. Same for the Tiger Boy, right? Like, he had a character quest, but, like, if you hadn't done that character quest first and just focused on the story, he just randomly appears to defend the city, and you're just like, who the hell are you? Like, so, yeah, that's what I find, like, crazy. I saw some tweeting about how much they like Wuthering Waves for its story and characters. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, the story is terrible. Like, the story is bad. Well, okay, so the story is not terrible. Sorry. I'm exaggerating. I think the world building is terrible. I think the story is not great. I think it has a few good moments. Like, they can do an interesting scene or two, and that's what they're good at. They can make really good scenes, but they just can't connect them with shit, which makes a bad story. It's like, but people are dumb, so they see the big, awesome scene, like, wow, that scene was so fucking cool, the story is amazing. It's like, no. The scene was really good, really cool, but, like, there was no foreshadowing, there was no lead up to it, it makes no sense, there's actually logical inconsistencies within that scene in and of itself. Like, the scene doesn't really fit in the world. It's cool, but like it doesn't really fit, and it doesn't connect with the world properly. And so that's what's like so dumb about it, because you get these people who are just like, this is amazing, this is cool, this is awesome, and it's like, no, it's fine, you know. This scene, people just can't seem to like separate that out. They can't be like, oh, the scene was cool. They can't recognize. Basically, they get distracted. It's like jingling keys, right? The jingling keys of the scene make them think, oh yeah, I'm having fun. This is interesting. It's like no. You are distracted, and the awesomeness of that scene makes you forget about all the dog shit around it, right? And so that's kind of like, that's why I stopped, basically. I'm just like, you know what? This story just does not make sense. What the fuck are they doing? Like, you started with the setting, and then, like, you just keep going further and further away from the original setting of the world, and the scenes that you do have, and the stories that you do have, and the plots that you do have seem to contradict each other at multiple times, and they just don't make sense. And there's, like, no foreshadowing at all. Just, like, you're just like, hey, now this happened. You're like, what? Like, you would think something that monumental would have had some sort of, like, reference somewhere else, where it's like, yeah, if this was this crazy and awesome and dangerous or powerful or whatever, you'd think there'd be some mention of it, some sign, but it's like, nope. It's like the first sign you see of it is the patch, that patch, or maybe the patch before. You're like, oh, hey, yeah, there might be something there, and then you have to go there, and it's like, really? Like we should have been able to see that right from when we started playing right when we got to this area, and then it's just like, it just keeps to go. It seems to be going further and further away from the initial setting of the world, and people are just like, well, whatever. Like, the scenes are cool. I like the characters are hot, so I'm just gonna give it a pass. And it's like, that's fine, right? Like, it's perfectly fine to like it. I just think it's incorrect to say the story's good. I say the story is fine. It has a few good moments, but it's mostly mediocre to bad. Like, most of the content is mediocre to bad, with a few good scenes that kind of like pull it out of the mediocrity to give you the illusion that it's interesting and good. And I just didn't like it, because like whenever you're trying to like, it's like whenever something happens, I try to theory craft it. Like, okay, well, this happened in game. Like, what could this possibly mean? Like, what's, you know, what does this mean to the world? And, you know, where could this story be going? Oh, I'm so interested. And that kind of like curiosity piques me. But like in Wuthering Waves, you just can't even bother doing that, because you can never guess, because they don't give you any clues. They give you no clues about what's going to happen. And it just is so fucking random all the fucking time. And sometimes even contradicts the stuff they've said previously. So it's like, you operated under the assumption, okay, well, because you should operate on the assumption that everything they tell you in the game is true, right? Unless the character themselves is willfully lying to you, where it's like, oh, okay, well, this character is untrustworthy. So, of course, the thing they said was a lie, or heavily influenced by their own perception. So it's not true. So if you based your theory crafting on, oh, I'm assuming what they said was true, and it turned out they were a liar, and they were lying, and they were trying to trick us, that's fine, you know? But the problem is like, it's these people who seem to be truthful, seem to be saying their own truth, and then just are just flat out contradicted by how the events happened, or what would actually be possible. And you're just like, well, there's no way in hell that's true. Like, the timeline just doesn't make any sense based on that. Like, there's so many other context clues that just disprove what you're saying, and that can't be true. And you're just like, you just don't know what to believe anymore, right? Because it's like, yeah, well, you say this, and we're supposed to really believe you because you're supposed to, like, this is your big grand reveal where you're revealing the truth to us, but you're just like contradicting what other people have said, what we've observed in the world, and you're just like, well, fuck, you know? So it's just like, yeah, it's shit like that, where it's like, after one too many times of that, I'm just like, you know what? If they're not going to take their story seriously, I'm just not going to take the game seriously and just not play. It's like, it just ruins my fun. It ruins, and like, the exploration was tedious. The exploration kind of became more tedious than it was fun. It was fun for a bit, but it ended up just dragging on. And then with the new zone, where you got to mount, I'm just like, okay, well, they have the exact problem that I knew was going to happen when they introduced a mount. Is that great? Awesome. You introduced a mount. So what did you do? Well, if you're on a mount, you need to make the world bigger, so that you can go on your mount for longer. You can go along these tracks and explore the world on your mount. So they make the world bigger, but they don't pack it with more stuff. So they basically treat it like, hey, if you were on foot, you should be coming across something every 15 seconds. If you're on foot and you're walking in a direction, within 15 seconds you should see something around you. That's a chest, that's a combat event, whatever. It's something in the overworld to do. And rather than keeping it as, oh, okay, we're going to make sure that there are events 15 seconds apart, as if you were on foot, they just say, no, now we're going to make it so that there's an event to do every 15 seconds while you're on a mount. But when you're on a mount, you're obviously traveling much faster. So basically, that means that something that might take you 15 seconds to find on a mount would take you 30 seconds to find on foot. So basically, whereas while on a mount you can find everything in the same cadence, if you're on a foot, it now takes you twice as long to find anything because things are twice as far apart. Which is like, okay, well, that means you can't ever be on foot anymore. There's no point in being on foot ever, because now things are spaced so far apart that being on foot takes too much time. So that's the problem, is they expanded the world, but didn't increase the density of content within the world. Or they didn't keep the density of content the same. They basically, it's like they took a map, they put a bunch of points of interest on the map, and then they stretched the map, keeping the same number of points of interest. So it's like, oh, hey, we're going to put 100 points on, we're going to put like 100 points on this map. These are all the things to do in the map. Now we're going to double the size of the map, but keep just 100 points of interest. So it's not like we're going to double the size of the map and double or quadruple the number of points of interest to do on the map, because the map is bigger, so we have to add more things to do. It's like, no, we're just going to increase the size while keeping the number of things to do the same, which means the density is lower. And it's just like, yeah, that's the exact problem that happens when you introduce mounts, is that you start scaling everything and creating a density that fits with a person on a mount. So that means you can no longer really do anything not mounted, because it just takes you so much longer to do it and find things, which is just not fun. That's why Genshin, you don't have a mounting engine, for the most part. Obviously, technically, you have Mavica, and Natlan had a lot of characters that had a lot of various movement options. But even them, the movement speed increases weren't that much greater, and they had the phlogiston restrictions. So it's like, yeah, you can get a little burst of speed, but you can only do it while the gauge is full and it'll run out. Or you can only do it while your skill is up, and then once you run out, you have to wait for the skill to come back up again. So, and not all characters have it, so it's not like it's a universal thing. And they also didn't decrease the density of things to do in the world. So it's like the density remains the same, so it's still just as viable to not have that. Not have one of those movement option characters. So, and that's how you do it, So that's why I like. Let's see. So what is this going to be? So I mean, obviously this minigame is going to be using this to shoot something. So it's probably not going to be a paddle event. It's not like we're going to have to use a paddle to smack balls back. We're going to use this to shoot. Is it going to be something like Space Invaders, maybe? Where we use this to shoot upwards at creatures that are slowly approaching us, maybe?
それは確かにそうなんだけど、シュブルーズの前でそういうことを言われると。
構わない。犯罪小説で無法地帯警察としてこういった場所で活動するにあたって最も重要なのは一時的に規定を捨てることだ。では私はこれで失礼する。もしよかったらオイラたちありがとう。じゃあ今すぐ行きましょう。
想像してたよりずっ見本市はまだ始まってないからな。こっちは私とクロリンデで大丈夫よ。
Yeah, I basically say this every time they do an event. Okay. Okay, so you want to make sure you have the color that matches the bullets. So we basically get the same color and we get those little bullet charges that we can then use to shoot. Oh, okay, and then we have to shoot the thingy. That's pretty cool. It's an interesting... Oh, interesting. So, yeah. Actually, that's a really interesting way to do it, too, because... Is this just the two? Oh, no, there's no one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, because, like, obviously, they had USA and the other thing mentioned before, but realistically, we never really did much with it. Like, yeah, there were some things we did in the overworld where it's like, oh, okay, you needed something of this alignment, but the problem is that they had to make it so that, like, that you could basically do the puzzle. You could do the puzzle without it, without having a character of a Fontanian alignment. Because, like, the idea is, like, well, what if you hadn't pulled a Fontanian character? And so you didn't have a character that could use the Usia or the other power. And, like, each character only had one of the powers. So it's like if you needed one type, and the only character you got was from the other type. So basically they had to put stuff in the overworld that could give you that alignment so that you could break the things in the overworld. But then at that point, it's just like, well, what's the point then, right? Like, sure, like, it was a kind of a puzzle, but generally it wasn't, like, super complicated and pretty basic. So, and because of the restrictions on, like, well, shit, like, we can't make it required to have characters that have these alignments, because what if you're a new character, new player who doesn't have any Fontanian characters? We can't make it so you literally can't explore Fontaine because you don't have a Fontanian character. So they have to have methods to get around a character using that elemental type. But then that heavily restricts what you can do, because you have to have the puzzle and the solution right next to each other so that you could solve it, you know? So it obviously reduces the complexity of the puzzles, because you can't make things too complicated, because you need to make sure that the solution is that you can align yourself with the correct element to do it. Now, there were a few ones that weren't, like, completely terrible, but generally they were pretty basic. So I do like the stuff we did recently. In fact, actually, the new time and space puzzles were really interesting. I thought those were kind of fun.
こんにちは、旅人さん。はい、もうオイラたち、ネフェルからの。
I mean, it's kind of like the Kuvaki stuff that you had here, right? So you have to be near a plant that provided the Kuvaki energy, so you could either turn into Kuhenki yourself to do a puzzle bit, or so it just kind of was relatively restrictive of what you could do. It's tough. It's tough to design puzzles. Like, they've been at it for 5 years. They have to make each zone feel new. So I understand that it's going to be tough to, like, well, we want to make puzzles, but we can't make them too difficult, because then people will bitch and moan. But if we make them too easy, people will still bitch and moan. So it's like, it's a hard balancing act.
はい。アイノは今、パチパチ守衛団の最終チューニングを行っています。パチパチ。おお、それが工房の展示物なんだな。
Okay, so this looks like because that looks like a paddle. So I think this is probably one of the ones. It's probably we're gonna have to, like, use the bot to smack balls back and destroy objects. And so the balls are gonna be bouncing around in the thing. We have to use his paddles to smack the ball back and do that. Like, that's my guess. That's my guess on what the mini game's gonna be revolving this thing.
出品するのはアイノの作工房 からの直接注文を。なるほどな。ああ、ところでヤフォダが呼んでたぞ。あいつお前たちのためにいい場所を取っといてくれたんだぜ。もう言ったでしょ。全部ちゃんとチューニングしてからじゃないと運べないの。いくらせかしたってああいうのがそんなに真剣になるなんて珍しい。近頃の工房は深刻な資金不足問題に直面しています。今回の出展には経済状況を改善したいという意図があるため、この慎重さは合理的であると言えます。資金不足？不足しているのは研究資金ではなく甘いもの資金です。甘いものの過剰購入により、そこで私は工房運営の観点から、しかし近頃アイノは丸々1ヶ月分の甘いもの資金を使い切ってしまったのです。完成！パチパチ守衛団しっかり。会場への案内をお願いします。実演用の足場はここに。アイノの新作防衛装。いつでも遊びに来てよ。絶対君たちをがっかりさせないから。ご案内ありがとうございました。どういたしましてだぞ。アイノは出店者とは言えません。アイノは賑やかな雰囲気が好きではないので、見本市が始まり次第そっか、そうだよな。3組の出店者の登録が無事終わったな。ヤホダに知らせに行こうぜ。
Oh, interesting. Oh, so it's basically it's basically Theater Mechanicus. It's another tower defense thing. I thought it was going to be a because like the one we had paddles directly in front of it, so I just assumed that was the one we were controlling. But it seems like there's a variety of bots, and then we have to put the bots in various lanes to do. Oh, interesting! And you can combine them. That's kind of cool. That will be interesting. Yeah, I think that I'll have a bit of a learning curve to figure out what bots combine with what. Okay, I'm back to Jehoda now. Ati, that sounds familiar. Did we meet that kid before? Or maybe I'm just confusing it because I watched people play Alan Wake, so I think of Ati from that, the janitor from the Alan Wake games. Are these people of the Springs, or is this in Natland? Or no, I mean Natland is people. People of Springs are Natland. Is this? I think that looks like Natland attire. So. It also does beg the question of like, wait, what kind of adult like pushes around children? For one, but two, why the fuck are there children in a black market auction house? Or maybe not everything's black market.
この不届き者が案内にも書いてあっただろう。会場内での武力衝突は一切禁止と。それとも字も読めぬ。ずっとこんな風に話してみたかったんだ。
俺だってどう
いう意味だ？
などくらい見本市で歓迎されるのは普段は闇市でしか手に入らないようないいものだけってのは。
It's also weird too, because like those toys look very much like the things that Aino has in her workshop. So like, I mean, maybe these are disciples of hers. That's why they look so similar.
調べてみたが案の定だった。コネを使えばおもちゃを売るガキでも屋台を出せるってわけか。
I mean, this is what I find stupid, right? Where it's like, it's not fair. All I did was miss a deadline. It's like, oh, okay, so you fucked up, and now you're bitching and moaning that other people who didn't fuck up have a better opportunity than you. And it's like, I missed one stupid deadline. Yeah, okay, so yes, And that's when the rules start to matter. The rules always mattered. And because these people followed the rules and you didn't, they got the spot.
俺たちはちゃんと弱そうなやつを選んで手を出したってわけか。そんなの外の世界でしか通用しないよ。この3人は正規のルートから応募してる。信じ
Yeah, and it's like, and he prefaces it with, yeah, I fucked up. There was a deadline, I missed the deadline, and now I'm in a worse situation. It's like, yeah, so basically what you're admitting to, you fucked up, this is your fault, and now you're just ranting at people who didn't fuck up and blaming them. Like, they earned it fair and square. You're like, as if. It's like, dude, you fucking failed. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like, hey, we both submitted our things on time, and they got picked. And then it's like, I think that's unfair. I think we both had the opportunity. We both had an equal shot. We both had an equal opportunity. And they were chosen. And they have these connections. So these connections must have been what the difference was. Why they were picked over me. But it's like, no. You basically shot yourself in the foot by not even meeting the deadline. So it's like you're not operating on an even playing field. You're operating at a disadvantage. So no shit they got picked over you. Hell, maybe they were already selected before you even turned in your late form, right? So maybe because you missed the deadline, someone else was picked. And then after they were picked, you then submitted your thing. And so you got whatever was left. So it's clearly your fault.
心配すんな。チンピラが騒ぎを起こしてただけだよ。手がまだ震えてる。早くボスの名前。
逃げ足が速くて命拾いした。
お姉ちゃん、ありがとう。いいっていいって。あたいの仕事だからね。あれ、
アーティ、みんな大丈夫か？
大丈夫だよ。
突きと悪かった。少し用事があって席を外してたんだ。迷惑をかけたな。
やっぱりか、アシュバパティ。あんた、せっかくブースの申請が通ったのに、子供たちにおもちゃを売らせる。
この見本市のコンセプトは自由な取引だ。
そうだけどさ。だからあんた。
アーティ、ラーヤ、ネブ、お前たちは。
うん、わかった。
確かに。
I mean, realistically, any technology can be used to make a weapon, right?
それは物知りだね。
だったらなんで武器にしなかったんだ？
もし子供たちに贈り物をするとしたら、君はおもちゃと武器、
それは
大金を稼ごうなんて気はないんだ。このブースを申請したのも。
わかったよ。でも
I see. So he still is selling weapons, but he doesn't want to make it obvious. He wants the kids to have fun. It's kind of weird. Like, why did you bring your kids to a black market expo? For them to have fun. Like, there's so many other places you could have taken them.
わかってる。だが、親が忙しいせいで、子供たちが幼少期につまらない。
そっか。心配すんな。
Well, no, like, he basically said, hey, yeah, I get it. Like, most kids are neglected because their parents are working. And it's like, yeah, so that's presumably why you brought them here, so they could be with you while you're working, so you could keep an eye on them. So why the fuck are you not with them then? Like, if the whole point of bringing them here so that they could be with you while you work, then why the fuck aren't you here, right? Now, to be fair, he could have been, like, going off and, like, getting food for them or filling out some paperwork, and then was going to come back, so just bad timing. But realistically, it shouldn't be Jehoda even volunteering. He should be like, no, I'm here now. I'm going to protect these children.
頼むよ。
ヤホダお姉ちゃん。ヤホダお姉ちゃん。まあ、気にすんなって。とにかく、何かあったら。
But to be fair, I mean, this is basically her job. You know, as she said, the rules, like, there is no violence in this place. And that guy clearly is acting antagonistically towards these children, so he's obviously going to come back. So if you want to uphold the rules of no violence, you should keep an eye on the children, because that guy is going to come back and you can catch him before he does anything stupid. And then he leaves again. Like, what? You mentioned the whole point of you being here and bringing them is for them to have fun, and so that you could be with the children, and then you still immediately leave. the second we finish our discussions. Like, where the fuck are you going? So are they a mini? Oh no, we have 3 mini games already. It's leaving. Okay, so is that the first quest? Oh, okay. Hey, wow. So now we have the actual event. The event stuff. So this is not unlocked completely. Alright, so this is, yeah, it's just the same for all of them. Can't do the other ones. But, it's just 3. Oh yeah, and I think Jehoda is a interesting. Oh, is this the story quest? Is this a quest that only appeared if you've done the story to a certain degree? There's many. So this is where we met those. So yeah, I see. Oh, okay. So these are the events then, where we can meet these people. That's cool. I have a nice little. Oh wow, we haven't actually finished this quest yet. Damn. It's still not considered complete. I assume it's like talk to the people and that will finish it up, but there is it. Okay. Well, either way, I've been doing this for long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and stop for now. But tomorrow I will be back on, and I will continue more of the story stuff. I'll try to do the story first, because the minigames usually you can blast through pretty easily, for the most part. And some of the minigames might be more suited for not walking while I'm doing them. Their story quests are easily very distracting. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.